Before we begin, if you're serious about military history, battlefield survival, and the uncomfortable truths that don't always make it into textbooks, subscribe to After the Sirens and leave a comment as you watch. This channel exists for people who don't just want dates and uniforms, but real-world lessons pulled straight from the chaos of war and preserved with accuracy. Your engagement helps keep this kind of deep historical work alive. World War II was not just a clash of ideologies or armies, it was a brutal laboratory of survival. Millions of soldiers were thrown into environments where official doctrine collapsed within hours, sometimes minutes. When supply lines failed, rules blurred and command structures broke down, survival often depended on improvisation. Some of the most effective methods soldiers developed worked terrifyingly well, so well that they were later banned, quietly erased from manuals, or officially condemned after the war. These were not battlefield legends. They were real techniques used by infantrymen, scouts, partisans, and special units who understood one brutal truth. Effectiveness often came at a moral or legal cost. Today, we're examining 8 of those survival tricks, not to glorify them, but to understand how war forces humans to adapt in ways that governments later try to forget. One of the most disturbing survival tactics involved rigging everyday objects to explode or injure. Retreating soldiers sometimes booby-trapped helmets, rifles, ration tins, or even dead bodies. The goal was not just physical harm, but psychological disruption. Enemy troops slowed their advance, fearful of touching anything. This tactic proved brutally effective in delaying superior forces, especially in urban ruins and jungle terrain. After the war, international conventions reinforced bans on such practices because they endangered civilians and medical personnel. The practical lesson here is about area denial and fear management. Modern survivalists can ethically apply the concept by understanding how environmental cues influence behavior, using non-lethal deterrents, alarms, and controlled obstacles to protect camps without causing harm. Certain Allied and Axis units trained extensively in silent elimination using knives, garrots, and hand pressure techniques. These methods allowed soldiers to remove sentries without alerting others, often determining whether an entire unit survived behind enemy lines. After the war, many of these techniques were restricted or classified due to ethical concerns and misuse potential. The survival takeaway is not violence, but stealth discipline. Learning how to move quietly, manage breathing control, gear noise, and approach unseen remains valuable for wilderness survival, search and rescue, evasion training, and personal situational awareness without ever crossing moral lines. Some soldiers survived overwhelming engagements by, playing dead among actual corpses. In several documented cases, troops lay motionless for hours while enemy patrols passed within feet. Just imagine the nerves required for that. This violated certain battlefield expectations and, sometimes led to harsher reprisals, which is why it was discouraged and later condemned. The deeper lesson here lies in situational patience. In modern survival terms, knowing when to remain completely still, conserve energy, and avoid unnecessary movement can really mean the difference between rescue and exhaustion, especially in disaster zones or wilderness emergencies. WWII soldiers often performed emergency amputations, wound cauterizations, and drug administrations far outside medical doctrine. Morphine overdosing to dull pain or alcohol sterilization were honestly quite common despite long-term risks. These methods saved lives in the short term, but caused lasting damage, leading post-war medical authorities to ban or heavily regulate them. The modern application, then, is understanding trauma priorities. Learning proper first aid, bleeding control, and infection prevention allows survivalists to act decisively without repeating those dangerous improvisations born of desperation. In extreme conditions, soldiers consumed animals considered unsafe, including carrion rodents and, improperly prepared plants. Some units even relied on chemically treated food sources that would be unacceptable today. These methods kept men alive, but caused long-term illness, leading to bans in training manuals. For modern survivalists, the lesson is food identification and preparation. Learning safe foraging, proper cooking temperatures, and water purification achieves the same goal without the risks that plagued wartime improvisation. Certain World War II units, actually disguised themselves as enemy soldiers to move through hostile territory. While it was tactically brilliant, it violated the laws of war and frankly endangered civilians when such ruses were discovered. After the war, treaties explicitly banned such actions. The ethical takeaway here really is understanding visual disruption without resorting to impersonation. Modern camouflage instead focuses on breaking up outlines, blending colours, and maintaining disciplined movement, all of which remain essential skills for wilderness survival and, of course, search avoidance. Soldiers sometimes, used enemy weapons to access ammunition or perhaps to blend in. This often led to, unfortunately, friendly fire incidents and, after the war, outright bans. The modern lesson here is all about equipment familiarity. Whether you're hiking, hunting, or, let's say, preparing emergency kits, knowing your tools thoroughly and maintaining standardization really does prevent dangerous errors. Some World War II training programs, they deliberately hardened soldiers through sleep deprivation, stress exposure, and desensitization drills. These methods increased short-term effectiveness, but sadly caused severe psychological damage, which led to their prohibition. Today, survival training rightly emphasizes resilience through controlled stress, proper recovery, and mental health awareness, rather than just brute conditioning. These banned survival tricks, I think, reveal the thin line between effectiveness and humanity. Understanding them, in fact, deepens our appreciation of the soldiers who faced impossible choices and helps modern historians, survivalists and educators separate adaptation from atrocity. Knowledge, when studied critically, becomes a tool for prevention as much as preparedness. If this kind of deep, uncomfortable and honest military history matters to you, do subscribe to After the Sirens, share this video with fellow historians, and by all means leave a comment with your thoughts or questions. This channel exists because serious viewers demand serious history.